Hello, everybody, and welcome to our panel and our session, Expert Insights, Optimizing Your Accounting Workflow in Yardi Breeze. My name is Chris Yulip, Vice President for Yardi Breeze, and I am very pleased to have two of our valued clients joining us here today. We have Tanya Aragon from Core Property Management and Kyle Goldenberg from Myriad Property Management. We appreciate you both being here so much and sharing some of your insights. And we're going to talk about accounting, one of the great unsung heroes of Yardi Breeze platform, because we like to say in our all-in-one Breeze platform, we have world-class accounting, and it really can make a big difference for our client's business. And so we're going to make this a nice conversation about things that Tanya and Kyle have found valuable in their Breeze platform. And so welcome both of you, Tanya and Kyle. Tanya, would you like to introduce yourself first, please?
Hi, my name is Tanya Aragon. I am with Core Property Management and I co-own the company with my business partner, Patty Morelos. We manage a portfolio in Long Beach, about 3 million square feet, and we service all of Southern California as well as some out-of-state clientele. And so we have a mixed portfolio of multi-tenant, industrial, commercial, some residential, and I'm here to talk to you about our transition from our original Yardi to this Yardi Breeze Premier, and any questions you may have.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tanya. Kyle, how about you?
Well, I'm Kyle Goldenberg, come from Myriad Property Management. We operate in Toronto. We have a number of multifamily buildings. We also have commercial industrial properties as well. We're a family-owned and operated business. We've been in business now for 40 odd years, and I'm generation number 4 coming into this. So it's quite exciting, and I'm excited to talk about how great Yardi's been for us, quite frankly.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Kyle. Appreciate that. We have a lot of really great real life practical experience here on this panel. So I'd like to begin, Tanya, with you. A nice simple question. Do you have any particular favorite accounting features in the program you'd like to share?
Wow, Chris, that's a hard question. There are so many great features that I've come to love. But I would say the one that's at the top of my list is the feature that Yardi Breeze incorporates by having the ability to attach documentation to every transaction that you generate. And so in our practice, I'm very cognizant of making sure everything has checks and balances. And so it has a great ability to do an entry, provide the document, have a paper trail set, whether it's an email, a PDF, a Word, an Excel, you're able to load everything into one transaction to generate a paper trail. So if you're ever looking, as an example, to avoid a check, and there's some issues that you can't quite reconcile with the voided check, as sometimes that happens, you're able to just follow the entire trail and notate what's happened. And so that's a great key, because often in our accounting world, when we are trying to locate any discrepancy, which there should be few and far in between, which this helps that a lot. But when there is, it is such a comfort to know that at the touch of a button, I'm able to provide that answer to either a client, a vendor, the bank, anyone, and not have to maybe waste time looking at the paper trail on, the file cabinets like, we were used to. And so having everything available at the touch of a button has really been a game changer and some great time saving for us.
Now, I'll echo exactly what Tanya has said. For me, my background is accounting, and I was a CPA for about 15 odd years. And many times I was down on my knees searching through invoices and trying to find them, as an auditor and looking for backup documentation. So from the other side and then from this side, and just in terms of the efficiency of it all, being able to access an invoice, being able to use the image export or expense export function. It's able to save me a ton of time as opposed to gathering the invoices, photocopying them, and then, scanning, sending them off to whomever. It's great for accountants. It's also great for our commercial tenants when we reconcile our common area maintenance. We're able to, aggregate and collate all of that together. send it off in one email, and the guys got what they need, and we can move on. So it's definitely a huge time saver. The paper trail again is as Tanya said, I can't say it any better. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I agree. Being able to be digital and let the system be your permanent file cabinet with all the security that comes with a cloud-based system and knowing that your important records are safe. I think that is an incredible value. So if our viewers, come into this session and they take that alone away from this session, I think that would be extremely valuable. Kyle, while you're thinking about it, in addition, any favorite features that you might want to highlight here?
For me, in my group and in what we've seen, ad activity has really been a game changer for us. That's a feature that's available on pretty much any window that you open up into Yardi, your tenant windows, your vendor windows, invoices, payables, etc. And it allows you to jot down quick notes about it. You can assign a task based on that screen to someone. We just had our weekly office meeting, and my facilities manager, who also approves some of the utilities invoices, was saying, these stuff isn't really, what I'm supposed to be looking at. So he assigned it to the person it was responsible for. And through ad activity, she got the email and was able to execute, what she needed to do immediately. Taking it one step further, ad activity is great for us when we have to deal with tenants, at the building. So we have a head office, and then we obviously have our property managers and superintendents in the field. And so ad activity is really great when they have an interaction with the tenant, and they can jot down quick notes as to what went on, so that there is a continuous record. And if anything needs to be acted on or recalled at a later date, you've got the record keeping right there, right at the tenant ledger or at the tenant screen, and tip of your fingertips, saves us a lot of time in terms of, we have the documentation. If we have to go to, in Toronto and Ontario and the landlord tenant board for any tenant issues that get escalated, there's our backup. So, it's a really helpful and great feature for, those quick interactions where you can just jot a few quick notes down. It's timestamps saved immediately, and it's there until you get rid of it, if you choose to get rid of it. So it's one of my favorite features, quite frankly.
That's great. Thank you. And it's everywhere, right? Like you're in your
Yeah.
program, you get to pull it out. I'm curious, actually, does your team use it on different devices, maybe even when they're out in the field?
100%. So with the Breeze app, they can use it, within the Breeze app, or they can use it in the web-based version on, their iPhones, or, all our buildings have iPads and computers as well. When they go around, or if they're in the hallway, if they see something, they can take a picture, or if they're inspecting a unit, they can take a picture and, dump it right into the app. I know that's not specifically about ad activity. It's more of the inspection piece of this. But you can save all this information within the app, or within the web-based version on your telephone or your iPad. So, super convenient. And, if they put in a note and they assign it to me, or they, at Kyle, it pops up for me as a to-do list thing, and off I get. So, I'm able to deal with stuff almost immediately if it's required of me. If they need to leave a note for escalating to a property manager or from a building manager, then it's right there. So it really is fabulous. Saves a ton of time in terms of correspondence, and keeps, the interactions relatively fresh, so you don't have to run to your desk to, write something down. Oh, I spoke to this tenant, they were doing that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to add to that and piggyback on what you just said. One of the features that, with that paper trail that I was discussing, and then just having everything readily available, is the feature of being able to take my app, iPad, laptop, phone, and any meeting that I have with a client, with the vendor, with the bank, it doesn't matter. I have all of the information readily available for um, answer any questions. And so the days of I'm gonna have to get back to you. Let me check on this transaction when I get back to the office, or let me log in from ABC. Those days are over. And so it's been such a help to, and quite frankly, some very impressive feedback that I've gotten. They said, "Oh, you have the answer right now," and I'm like, "Yes, I do. Give me 1 second, and I'm gonna look it up for you in this moment." And so that's just been so efficient because it's one less thing to do later on in my day, as Kyle mentioned, because I'm able to just provide the answer right there and then. And so that's another, I don't know, it might even trump my other favorite because it's just so readily available.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yes, thank you. Having that mobility and access to everything, it really supports everything. I know you both do a lot in your businesses on a regular basis. So Tanya, let me ask you about financial reporting. I know it's near and dear to your heart.
It is.
Any particular comments you want to make for our audience?
Yes, I want to give you some background. So we were using Yardi, but we were using Yardi in the 30-year-old version because that at the time was what we inherited as a company. And so we were doing paper, financials, and the time frame to prepare financials before we were in Yardi Breeze Premier was hours, sometimes days, because if there was a change and we had to recreate the financials, I mean, everything had to be perfect for us to have a seamless month and no glitches, because once it's printed, if it's something's wrong, we got to do it all over again. And so that was just something very painful to do, because it's so much time went by, and that's what we had to do it. In the new system, I have the ability, as any of you that have this system will have, is to generate a report per the preference, not only of the owner, but have the ability to send them to them immediately. And so the reporting feature of it is also something that my clients, it has changed for them. The CPAs, they're able to get any form of financial statement in Excel, in PDF, in whatever form they require, and it makes their job a lot easier. And this particular tax season, we just got through, or at least almost there. I got great feedback from the CPAs on how quick it was to get the information, on how helpful it was to get it in Excel format, and the owners are just really thrilled that they're able to have that custom reporting for themselves. I think it's also a excellent customer service for them to be able to say, okay, mine's not standardized, it's custom to me. And that's a great thing to be able to offer our clients, and to be able to, on our own, at each month, once we're reconciled and everything's in checks and balances, and just hit send. Publish, they get to go on their owner portal, which I'm sure we'll talk about that soon. And so, yeah, it's just, you could see I'm very excited about it because it's just such a great feature for our clients.
Yeah, for me,
Yes.
financial reporting, it's also near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned earlier, was an accountant, was on the other side. I'm still an accountant, not
That's true.
practicing. Um, so, very much we get requests from our auditors, and being able to produce things almost immediately, not having to dig, for our owners as well. The reporting, you can set up the templates ahead of time, run
Mhm,
them monthly. As Tanya said, you can do different things for different owners. If,
mhm,
one of my owners is strictly multifamily, they'll get one type of report. If one of my owners is multifamily plus commercial or industrial, the report can be modified to fit their, specific needs with just, a few clicks or a touch of a button, based on the templates that you set up and are able to facilitate. So,
mhm.
with all of that, it's extremely easy, extremely efficient, and if I do want to do something that I can't really get, then I'm able to put it into Excel and do those types of things if I really need to, which is really handy. We came from, a smaller system that was, well past its best before date. So getting the reports that we were looking for, and that our owners were, you know, leaning to demanding, or, wanting to see, took an exorbitant amount of time to dig out. With Yardi Breeze, it's definitely become a process that is, extremely manageable, extremely streamlined and efficient. So can't say enough about that.
Yeah.
That's great. And Kyle, I know that you in your past have been an auditor yourself, so you actually have a very distinct view of this. And when everyone's watching this, at least certainly everyone in the U.S. has probably gone through a whole tax season here, right? And probably
Yes.
breathing a sigh of relief, and really understanding the importance of having a good accounting system, especially one that is all built into your management system, so it all goes together. I think that
Mhm.
is that is extremely important. Now, Kyle, I know that you fervently use the user security features, which again is I think is one of the great benefits of
Mhm.
the Yardi Breeze system. Could you talk a little bit about your usage of that and how it's helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the super user for our company, so I get to see everything, but that's not necessarily indicative of how everybody else operates here. We have, many buildings, many different owners. We have certain places that we need to restrict access to because, Breeze, as much as it is, for buildings and whatnot, we also use it for holding companies, which is, a secret that I don't think I'm letting out of the bag here, but we manage, all of our companies through Yardi Breeze. So it's important to be able to restrict access to certain files, certain, buildings as they're called, uh, in certain areas that, not everybody needs to see. I don't need my AR person looking into accounts payable, and I don't need my accounts payable person snooping around to see, who's not paying, their rent. So it's those types of things and those types of controls that Yardi allows me to augment and adjust to my needs, which is really excellent and allows me to tailor, the access that I need, that I require people to see and then not see. It's not so much secretive. It's just it's a method of control uh, that gives me comfort, but also gives our owners and our auditors and everyone else who may want to question some of the integrity of the books every now and again, if that's the case. So for me, it really is one of those things where I can specify who gets to see what, and if I need to change it because of repositioning or job duties change, whatever, then again it's just a few clicks. So um, yeah, it's comforting that I'm able to move around the access and keep people, um, where I want them to be, and from a control perspective. Um, but also, making it a very streamlined process in terms of if I need to make changes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
Tanya?
Yeah, no, I'd like to add to that that the selecting the user and their restrictions and the profiles that they get to see, as Kyle said, we have a property manager that's in charge of a certain portfolio, then there's no need to see all the other aspects of it. So I think it focuses and it really provides a feature of security because as the CFO here, I'm able to see everything, banking details, and so on and so forth. But again, that's not necessarily what I want everybody else to see, nor should they have access because at the end of the day, security is also of the utmost importance for us and for our clients because we are dealing with money, financials, and that's very proprietary. And so it's great to be able to have those features and add users as we see fit. One of the features that Kyle touched on and that I have now started using is even potentially outside CPAs that are licensed and by the state and have been given authorization by the client to say I want them to have access to reporting and I want them to be able to view for ABC because they have complex portfolios and they need to do tax planning throughout the year. We're able to provide them the viewing and they're able to download reports. And so it's amazing to be able to direct them and say, okay, well, for this particular, licensed insured professional, we are going to give them access to one property portfolio. And so saves us on time, and it assists the client, and it assists, other professionals that, sometimes they're waiting for ABC to be able to move on to their part. And so again, just another mind-blowing thing that I didn't even think was something that could be offered. And so that's just a great feature. And I am very impressed with the security feature of it as well. And I'm sure we'll get into that as well.
Yeah, just building on what she said, because she said it better than I did, naturally.
No.
Yeah, so I gave access to, our accountants, and, restricted so that it was pretty much viewing only. They can download
Mhm,
reports if they want. They can't make adjustments. They can't, look
mhm,
at anything that we don't want them to look at. And so it saves me time, or my staff time, from going to have to look and download reports, even as efficiently as everything is in Yardi. I
mhm.
save myself clicks, because navigating to certain spots in Yardi. This certainly, allows me to have comfort that they can get what they need, to do their job without interrupting me while I'm
Mhm.
doing mine. So, yeah,
Well
another.
said.
Excellent. Excellent. And so let's shift for a moment from your usage of the system, your staff's use of the system, as well as third parties who you give access to your customers, your tenants. Tanya, you
Yes.
are actively using the portals, is that right?
That is correct. So again, just to give background to the viewers, is we were only accepting checks as a payment feature at the time. Now it seems like so far away, but when we then launched the live feature of the tenant portal, and the tenants being able to integrate and having the ability to pay via ACH, credit card, debit card, it was a complete 180 when it came to our collection efforts. I would have to say, even to date, I would say it decreased so significantly that now we're down to maybe 30% collection efforts by the 15th, the 10th, the deadlines that we have in place. And that is just an extreme time saver. And also, it's a kudos to the tenant and to the client to be able to say, hey, here's your rent roll as of the 5th. It's collected. Why? Because the tenants have the ability to be able to look at their portal. They're able to answer their own questions, which we would get. Oh, my rent change. How much is it again? Oh, I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy. Did you get my check? Oh, I'm not sure what my lease says. And so they're able to actually have all of those answers at the tip of a button, using their portal. And I've noticed that the feature of the credit card feature really helped their cash flow. In some cases, some tenants use it for points, and so there's so many different features for them. And I think now, from the initiation of us having the ability to use the portal till now, I think now we've translated to about 70% of our tenants using the portal, which is significant because we have a sizable tenant portfolio. And of course, you have your big Amazon, and different companies that maybe are not going to use the portal, but overall, for the main tenant base, it's fantastic.
Yeah. For me, um, predominantly we're multi-res. So for us dealing with, or multifamily. So for us dealing with tenants, this has really been a game changer. It's freed up our accounts receivable person, or
Mhm.
people, from, cashing checks and making deposits and doing all those things, into monitoring and collections, and really focusing on, making sure that those delinquent tenants don't get any further delinquent than they already are. So we have Rent Cafe, and Tanya, you know, gave a few examples of how they utilize it. For us, submitting maintenance requests online is another great feature that we've given the tenants the ability to use, so they don't have to track down a super, find them in
Mhm.
the building, and submit a maintenance request. We did away with paper because of that, so they're able to do it from the comfort of their own home. It certainly helps in a few of our buildings where our tenant population is seniors. So being able to handle that and do it remotely, or even, have their kids handle that type of stuff. They call their son or daughter-in-law or son-in-law and say, I dropped a fork down the sink and I can't get it out, and I'm not going to stick my hand in there. Oh, don't
Mhm.
worry, Ma, I got you. I'll submit a maintenance request. And, you know, 10, 20 minutes later, a guy's knocking on the door ready to be able to help her. So for me, that's really great. The portal itself, being able to email tenants, maybe we're shutting off the water because we got to do some repair work or any type of repair work. We're able to send an email blast, from the system itself to everybody that's provided an email to us as a way of notification. So, I mean, the portal and then collections, obviously, with, um, Rent Cafe accepting rent and then integrating into the GLs so that you actually do see when the payment's coming, you get a notification to say that it's landed, whether or not it's good, bad, or, it collected. It goes right to their ledger with, not having to manually import something or manually type something out yeah, it's great.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. It's really great to have both of you here. For example, Tanya, your company is commercial oriented, and Kyle, you have a mix, but primarily residential, as you've said. So
Yeah.
really be able to see how these features can help you regardless of your portfolio focus. So
Yeah.
as we begin our conclusion here, I would like to ask any particular advice you have for our viewers who've never used a real GL accounting system like we have in Yardi Breeze and Breeze Premier. Tanya, do you have any particular tips there you'd like to share?
Yes. So coming from the background that I shared, and we did have an accounting system, but in our terms, we had to recreate a whole new one. And so a lot of our viewers are going to be in that same position of either pulling the trigger on a new accounting system or transferring to an existing one. And I think the best advice I could give you, having gone through it, is to make a concise plan and go in stages. And in addition to going in stages, as you're going through the stages, learn each stage so that you're able to seamlessly go through it. And you're always going to have hiccups, but I think having a plan in place is so crucial. For the many features that it has. So not getting overwhelmed with it, even though it's easy to, but it's really once you get there. You're hearing how excited I am because it's been a complete change for our company, and the efficiency, the time saving, and allows us to get that many more clients because we have so many other more features to offer. So I would really encourage those that are on the fence to just do it. I know I was on the fence because I just thought of all the work. I was like, oh my God, it's just going to be this mountain that I don't know, how far we're going to get up. And then it's, all these problems, but it really wasn't that. I think just the planning really, really assisted that. And now I'm not looking back, and I'm just regretting that I didn't get here sooner. So hopefully that encourages you all.
Yeah. For me, we were in the same accounting software for 15, 20 years, and it was, as I said, well past its prime.
Mhm.
Um, I can't say enough about the RD transition team. Uh, Tanya is absolutely correct. You have to have a plan, you have to implement it, you have to take your time.
Mhm.
And, I've never seen a software transition that's gone 100% smoothly.
Right.
But the backup that, Yardi provided for us was really great. If you are on, thinking about it or, gone through the transition, for me, the chat box at the bottom right-hand corner of the app or in the web browser was a lifesaver in, the short term in the early days. And the help box and the help feature was also something that, we utilized quite a bit to learn and to grow and to, be able to access anything. And I will say, and it's just been going through my mind a little bit. We were talking about all of this, but uh, we recently moved our offices. Again, we've been at the old office forever. And packing up all of my accounting was really just me closing my computer at one location and then opening it up at another location. And my entire staff was the same way. So it's one of those things where, this software, cloud-based, uh,
Mhm.
it having all this efficiency, and then like once you learn it, and I say once you learn it, it sounds not as good, but believe me, it's incredibly user friendly. So
Yes.
much so that, a lot of my staff, uh, been trained one way, and then, okay, well, here's this brand new platform, and they all look at me and they go, I can't learn all of this. How does this work? I said, guys, just, take 10 minutes, sit down, read through a few things and then start clicking some buttons. And, sure enough, within, a week or so that they were as good as they could get. They could get the, do their job that they knew. And then, every so often with the refresh conference that comes out or the updates that are released and you get a notification for, they're learning a bit more and a bit more. And now it's been 2-3 years almost. And, I think we're humming. We're really, it's been great.
Outstanding. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you so much both for sharing some of your real life insights in the program. And, what I'll encourage all of our viewers here at Refresh, there's some amazing content here that will go deep into education and training about all things in Breeze and Breeze Premier and a lot on accounting. So for those of you who might be interested in some of the advanced accounting features in Breeze Premier, I encourage you to look into some things that you may not be yet aware of or may not be utilizing. Things like account trees that can really make your GL reporting tailored to what that particular recipient of that report might be. Account trees are an extremely powerful function, and it's in your Breeze Premier program for those of you on Premier. And there's also job cost accounting built into Breeze Premier, which can be an extremely beneficial addition if you're doing anything in the area of construction, even if it's remodels or small jobs, anything you want a subledger to your general ledger to keep track of that. So I'll encourage everybody to keep learning more and more here at Refresh, all about accounting. And I want to greatly thank both of you, Tanya and Kyle, for taking your time to share your insights with our audience, because hearing from you, I think, is one of the most valuable things. So good luck to all of you as we continue through this year. And thank you once again. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, Daniel.